All right. Well, this is Jean-Marc St. Laurent, and thank you very much for joining me here today as we talk to someone I'm very excited to talk to, my buddy, my friend, Mr. International SEO expert, Chris Raulf. How you doing today, Chris?
Excellent, excellent. How are you, Jean-Marc?
I am excellent, staying as warm as possible out here. This is a very mild fall day, so I shouldn't complain. I'm not covered in snow. So at least then, but to talk about covered essentially, um, in a different vein, Chris, I know that you have used lead generation with webinars to get something like 600 plus people to hear your message. To me, that's astounding because I know if you're doing one-on-one like I do, if you want to talk to that many people, it can take you months by other means. If you do a blast to a bunch of people that don't know you, you might hear nothing back. But you've seen some very good results from this, I understand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing webinars for, oh my gosh, 15 something years now. They are a great way to generate leads, to get people, onto your email list, to sort of like a way to start the conversation, right? I don't sell. By the way, let me quickly introduce myself. My name
Yeah.
is Chris Raulf. I'm the founder of Boulder SEO Marketing and CR Global Digital Marketing. So we help customers around the globe with their online marketing, SEO, content marketing, social media marketing, whatever they need in terms of digital marketing, get more exposure, get more leads to their website. So yeah, webinars are an integral part of our, I don't want to call it sales techniques, but I would say, getting to know each other, strategies. I hate selling. I'm an educator. Um, we don't want to be sold to, right?
Sure.
I mean, the internet has put us in a position where we can search for the information that we're looking for, the services, products that we need. So I think long gone are the days where we can push a message on somebody and get them to do something. So I'd rather have people find me, connect with me through it's whether it's a webinar or like a social media post or a blog post. I'm putting out educational content, and that seems to be working really well. With that said, yeah, we're going to talk about webinars today, how to make webinars part of your lead generation strategy. Jean-Marc, any particular question right now, or should I just dive into it?
Sure. I do have a general question, which should also let you dive into it. How do you do it? I think for a lot of people, even for me, I've been doing marketing for a little bit. Where do you start?
That's a great question. So obviously everything starts with a thought, an idea, right? So you want to go back to your buyer persona. I do recommend, as part of your digital marketing plan, first create buyer persona profiles, right? Unfortunately, a lot of companies don't do that. They always shoot from the hip. They have no idea who they're targeting out there. So come up with a buyer persona profile. In my case, we're a digital marketing agency. It's most likely somebody with marketing in their title, marketing director, etc. A company that has a website that potentially needs help with their SEO. So you don't need to spend a lot of time, money into creating these buyer persona profiles. And I'd be happy to share our template with you as well, so that you can share it with your audience. So it will probably be included in the YouTube description or in this blog post. Yeah, just keep it simple, at least know who you're going to target with your message out there. And then think about something that is of interest to them. right? So we do webinars all the time. We do an introduction to SEO, how to get started with social media marketing, how to develop a social media marketing strategy. Just think about what is your target audience, looking for out there on the web, and then create the best possible content around, the issues that you need to help them solve, and then, create a landing page and all that good stuff that we're going to discuss in this interview.
All right, we're excited.
All right. So what I want to share with our audience today is basically I created a very simple webinar schedule in Google Docs, and I'm going to share that. I'm actually going to share my screen here. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, seeing it great.
Excellent.
All right, I see your template there.
Yeah. All right, and then so you guys are going to get access to this template. It'll be referenced again in the YouTube video or in this blog post. So something like this will do. Actually, we're using this template for when we organize webinars for our clients or for our own webinars. So basically, what I recommend is make your way back from the target hosting date. So let's say, theoretically, if we're going to host a webinar December, just for kicks, 15th, 2019. So that's the target, right? So you're going to make your way back from that date. So you want to have a webinar rehearsal, probably, a couple of days before the webinar. 12/13. Then you want to have the slides finalized, etc., etc. But let's take a look at let's quickly go through this schedule here. So create webinar schedule. Ideally, at this point, you have an idea what the webinar is going to be about, and then you would fill in all these dates here. Then draft a webinar description. Jean-Marc, I hear that you're going to help people organize webinars, right? We hosted a few events together before. You're going to do an amazing job. Definitely invite you to use this schedule as well as part of your the way you're going to organize these webinars. So webinar description, here we go. That's a real example. I'm actually speaking in Slovenia in February 18th, and then I'll be visiting a company in London, and we'll be hosting a 90-minute online masterclass about international SEO. So here we go. So this would be a webinar landing page, right? We identified who we want to have at this webinar. There we go. Who should attend this masterclass? Make it clear. Don't let people get to your page and then, they're not sure if they're a good fit. So spell it out right there. What will they learn? Very clear. Hey, here we go. Short and sweet. This is what you're going to learn. When is it? What's the cost? All that good stuff. You got to put it on the page right there. I'll get to that, the registration button in a second. And then, our workshop agenda overview. Hey, this is exactly what we're going to discuss in this webinar or online event, and then about the presenters. So something like this will do. This is going to be just perfect. All right. Then, if you do this for a client, make sure they approve the description before it gets put up on their website. Then create event on a webinar hosting platform, registration platform. So I do highly recommend Eventbrite. So if you were to click on this button, this would take you to this Eventbrite registration page right here. Man, Google loves Eventbrite. So even this page will probably do extremely well in organic search. Actually, let me show you an example here. So I'm going to do a incognito window in Chrome. Do a lot of SEO trainings. So when we do SEO training, oops, SEO training Denver. All right, so for this keyword,
Oh,
as you
wow.
can see, I mean, these are paid search results, but then these are, you know, 2 listings to the Boulder SEO marketing website. But check it out. This is actually the Eventbrite landing page. All
Nice.
right.
Nice. If I could point out something real quick, Chris,
Yeah.
if you could scroll up to the top of that page there, I want folks to notice that Chris is not just giving you some little ideas here that are some lovely thoughts. This stuff actually works. If you see, he has taken up here the top 2 organic positions. So he knows SEO and he knows what he's talking about. So I'll let you get back to you, Chris.
Cool. Yeah. So these are the paid search results. People pay per click. But 2 out of 10 people will click on these paid ads. This is where you need to be if you want to fill up your seats. About 8 out of 10 people will actually click on these top search results. So I know how to do SEO. It's definitely a huge advantage in getting seats filled, right? But the point here is that Eventbrite will do well in organic search as well.
Nice.
Right. So back to our little template here. Then, you know, once you have all the pages set up, it's time to start promote, get people to that page. And actually, a lot of pages will not just, you know, land at the top of Google. So it takes a little bit of effort to get people to pages. So I definitely recommend, you know, promote the webinar on social media. What also works extremely well is to direct message applicable people on LinkedIn. So because I speak globally, I speak in front of, gosh, thousands of people every year. So a lot of people connect with me on LinkedIn that are naturally, you know, a good potential customer for me. So let's take a look at, you know, how I could take advantage of that. So I want to invite people to that international SEO webinar with global marketing in their title. So I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. So click on first connections, then title, global marketing. I'm keeping this short and sweet. Let's go ahead. All right, so 500 something people with global marketing in the title that I can now personally invite to this webinar. And I keep the message short and sweet. You know, I don't want to be intrusive or a pain in the butt. I'm just saying, hey, Jenna, we're hosting a webinar about international SEO, global digital marketing. You know, feel free to join us if you have time, if it's something of interest. You know, don't be that person that's like writing this extremely long message that goes on and on. It's a pain in the butt, right? Nobody has time for that. So short and sweet. If they're interested, they will take action, sign up, right? There we go. Then, you know, if you do this for a client, you know, make sure they approve everything. You know, you may have to do it for them. You have to be careful if you get into their LinkedIn profiles, you may get kicked off. LinkedIn has gotten very strict about that. So just be careful with that. Then, of course, you know, email marketing. Make sure announce the webinar via, you know, to your email list, at least 2 blasts, I do recommend. Then I also recommend, you know, do a press release. Why not? This could look something like that. Here we host the webinar about social media marketing. It's an easy way to create, you know, high quality content for your website. There we go. Look at that, short and sweet. And then also we use Cision, the PR web platform. It's a paid press release distribution service, but it reaches a lot more people, a lot more outlets out there. And that stuff is also indexable in Google. It gets you backlinks. Look at that. Social media marketing classes. Takes them back to my half-day social media workshop page. Yes. So press releases, great way to generate content for your website. Then, make sure to draft a few blog posts about the webinar that you can put up on your website. Here we go. For example, for that webinar that I just showed you, we did a few blog posts, about the topic. And then, of course, at the bottom, include a call to action. It's like, hey, we're hosting a webinar about this topic. Join us if you can. I do recommend at least a couple of press releases, blog posts about the topic. It's great for your SEO. You're able to add a search engine optimized content to your website, promote that content via social media marketing. You see, it's like this loop, right? That's never ending. This is how people will discover your, events, your webinar. Then let me see, boom, and then here we are, time to finalize the webinar, slides. Make sure, if you get a lot of people signing up for your event, don't wait. Create the best possible content that's really useful to them, that they will walk away with great information. I always try to give away as much information that's relevant, that's high quality to my audience as possible. I don't believe in hiding things. So make sure it's the best possible information that you can give away. Then, host the online event. A tool that I can recommend is called freeconferencecall.com. It's actually a free online event hosting platform that you can use. I think you can have up to 1,000 people sign up or actually join you for the event. We've had, like 600-700 people signed up for our events. Then make sure you always record your online events, your webinars, so that you can put the recording up on YouTube. And then we usually update the landing page once you host the webinar with the webinar recording, so that people can watch the recording of the webinar. You can then also promote that again via social media. Definitely it's a great way to showcase your expertise. Get back here to our little webinar planning template. And then, follow up. A lot of people will probably not attend the live event, so you can send them the link to the recording. Keep in touch with them. Don't be too salesy. If somebody signed up for your webinar, it doesn't mean that they want to buy your services right away. Keep in touch with them. Feel free to reach out, via email, marketing, etc. But don't bug them too much. But if you do a good job showcasing your expertise, there's probably a good chance that they will, open receptive to talking to you and let you pitch them, right? So that's basically it in a nutshell. I'm gonna stop the.
Yeah, actually, would you mind sitting there for a second just to ask the questions
Let me
that
share again.
I'm sure are on people's minds? Yeah, that's perfect. So let's first talk about the email marketing follow-up, because as you know, there are gurus out there that will tell you that the big thing about webinars is how you follow up with people after the fact, because most people do not buy on webinars.
Yeah.
How would you create a program for someone after webinar? Are you just sending tips? Are you inviting them to some kind of another event to get a pitch? What sort of thing do you do for that?
Yep. So just last week we did a 90-minute intro to SEO webinar, and a lot of people from the Denver area signed up. And it just happens so to be that we're hosting actually a half-day workshop in Denver next week. So I was able to invite those people and say, hey, if you like this intro webinar, why don't you join us for a more in-depth session in Denver next week? And it works amazingly well. So you got to prove, we're living in a freemium world. People now expect that you offer something for free before they buy. That's exactly the concept that I'm doing here. You got to prove your expertise before they buy your stuff. And in this case, it's, when people sign up for the half-day workshop. Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned the freemium thing, because as consultants, it can be tempting to hold it all to yourself. I know I was a slow comer to the whole offer something of value
Yeah.
first. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'd love to go back in, if you'd be able to scroll up to some of this information here. I know you mentioned a press release, which I think is quite ingenious for a online event, because oftentimes, even if you look at a press release for some reason, you oftentimes have nothing that you can actually do at the moment. But for an online event, they can actually sign up. When
Yeah.
it comes to press releases, is there going to be a specific format or big do's and don'ts we should be thinking about when we're creating one? Should we create like a story and then just happen to mention our thing, or do we just get very obvious about our event here?
Yeah, let me quickly walk you through a press release here. So, the headline is probably the most important thing. They need to be able to identify immediately what this is, right? Then the subheadline will provide a little bit more information. Where is it? So basically, what, where, and how. And then, put a little bit of beef on the bone here, where you explain to people, who's a good fit for this event, what can they expect, what will they learn, throw in a quote that's meaningful to your potential target audience. That's basically it. And then, of
Nice.
course, make sure they can, have a link to sign up for those classes.
Oh, so are all three links going to go to the same place?
No, you want to send them to 3 different pages, but they should all be very closely connected to each other.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, so make sure that one, it may not be the same page, but it wouldn't be too hard to get to the next webinar page.
exactly. So they all should have eventually a link to the place where they can sign up, right? So you want to send them, give them options which door to go into, but eventually it'll lead to the same place down the hall.
That's why he gets paid the big bucks, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean,
Mr. Chris Raulf.
it's not rocket science, right? You just have to be willing to put in the work and create something that's of value to your target audience. And this is a great way to prove to your potential customers that you're the real deal. And, as I showed before, we're showing up for all of our target keywords at the top of Google. I mean, this is how it works. It takes a little bit of time and effort, but it's not rocket science. It just takes a little bit of time, work to get there. But if you're willing to do this the right way, it will pay off. And again, webinars are such a great way to show your expertise, create search engine optimized content, and all that good stuff.
Awesome, awesome. So, Chris, if someone's looking to connect with you to learn more about SEO and to see if they could be a potential fit for you, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Well, simply go to our website, Boulder SEO marketing.com. I there, or you can also go to my website that's focusing on international SEO, simply chrisraulf.com, CR Global Digital Marketing is that company. Look me up on LinkedIn. My Twitter handle is @SwissChris. I'm from Switzerland originally. So I'm sure if somebody wants to get in touch with me, they will track me down. I'm pretty visible on the web out there.
Nice. Perfect, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, you have answered an amazing amount of questions. Questions I've had for, geez, probably as long as I've been in marketing, maybe a decade. But thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your expertise and giving of your time to the audience. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. I hope it was useful for our audience, and don't hesitate to reach out if I can answer any questions. Thanks so much, Jean-Marc.
Thank you.